What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules. Back again with another video. We're here for another Ring of Honor TV review. Episode 49 to be exact. Now I'll say this. Prior to watching this episode, I was in a very bad mood. And I was hoping watching this episode would put me in a better one. And if I was to be honest with you, it really did not do that. This episode felt, I think the best way to put it is this episode felt like a rerun, and it felt like a bunch of things that we have seen before with a little bit of changes. But other than that, let's just get right into the review. There are still good things that came from this episode. Like the first thing that happened on this episode. We join the episode with a segment that happened earlier in the day. Dalton Castle attempts to attack Johnny TV as he has found Johnny TV, who is kind of in the ice machine maker. I would imagine he was getting ice out, and he is going to attack him, but Jerry Lynn is in the room as well, which kind of makes it seem very set up. And then Jerry Lynn's like, "Oh, Dalton, are you here to see me?" Because they've had conversations about getting this Johnny TV matchup, and Dalton Castle said yes. He is there to speak to Jerry Lynn because he sent him an email earlier saying that he has a good friend, a best friend that would like to have a match in Ring of Honor. And Johnny TV hears of this, and he says, "Hey, I will face your friend next week on Ring of Honor." And throughout the episode, we go back and we hear from Dalton Castle later, who's being interviewed by Alex Zayne, and he gives us hints to who his good friend is, his best friend. Long story short, I have absolutely no clue who it is. But next week, Dalton Castle's friend versus Johnny TV should be taking place. The first matchup of the night is Angelico and Serpentico versus Cameron and Alan Russell, who may or may not be twins because they looked very identical. They dressed the same, and they have the same last name. Angelico and Cameron start the match with the SAP keeping Cameron in their corner until later on. Serpentico, and it is noted several times throughout the match, that Serpentico is wearing a new black mask after his original mask that he normally wears was stolen last week after the tag team match against Cole Carter and Griff Garrison. Serpentico does a dive to the outside while Angelico wins the match for their team with a single leg Boston Crab. Quickly after this, Cole Carter and Griff Garrison come out with, I believe, Cole Carter wearing the mask of Serpentico with the SAP chasing them off. And so I imagine this rivalry continues. And it has been going on for quite a while, so I can't wait to see what the next step in this is. Next matchup is Nyla Rose versus Emmy Camacho. Fun fact provided by Caprice Coleman on commentary. Camacho was trained by Athena. And, we didn't really get to see much of Camacho's offense as Nyla dominated and won the matchup with a reverse torture rack into a cutter. I'll go ahead and mention it here. Nyla Rose, later in the night, finds Lexi Nair, who she told, "Hey, Lexi, where the hell's Billy Starks? I told you to bring me Billy Starks," and that did not happen. And she basically runs down Billy Starks and Lexi Nair and Athena, and that Ring of Honor is now Nyla Rose's show. And so it's also very weird that, Billy Starks we know is in the arena because she has a matchup later on in the night, and we still don't get an interaction between Nyla Rose and Billy Starks. If she really wanted to find Billy Starks, she probably could have, but, that's none of my business. Next matchup is a 6-man tag. The Iron Savages and Jack Jameson versus KM, John Cruz, and Braxton Hunter. Jameson and Hunter are the first two legal men, even though the most notable thing of the matchup is KM being sent to Titty City. There, I said it. For months and months, I've put off saying it. I always say it's an area of the body. It rhymes with city. I just didn't want to say it. I finally said it. If the video miraculously disappears, this is probably why. Hunter gets hit with a sauce toss by the Iron Savages and Jack Jameson, who win the matchup after that. Next matchup is Aaron Solo versus Dalton Castle. Castle is still showing the effects of not being TV champion and not getting a matchup with Johnny TV, as he very much moves in slow motion and apparently has not showered as his ring gear. I can't say showered. Washed his ring gear because it has been noted that it smells. Dun, da, da, da. Solo has the advantage early after Castle's slow offense, as I mentioned, but that quickly changed after a suplex by Castle, and he won the matchup with a bangarang. Next matchup is a proving ground match between the Undisputed Kingdom versus Fred Rosser and Tom Lawlor. And it is extremely weird. I could go on a rant, because like I said, I was not in a good mood before this episode, and the more I watched this episode, the more I was kind of like, do I want to rant about it? Not really. But I will say something about this. And again, it's not really a rant. It's just a coincidence that I will point out. For the longest time, we did not see the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles on ROH TV. And now this is the third straight week that we're seeing this. The first week was an actual tag team title match, and then we've gotten proving ground matches after that. And it might be 4 straight weeks. I'm pretty sure it's 3, though. Where the hell are the other damn championships? It is so weird that for the longest time, we didn't get the tag team titles. Now we're finally getting them, and we don't get any of the other titles. Eddie Kingston is the Ring of Honor World Champion. He's the Continental Classic Champion. He's the New Japan Strong Champion. Ain't on ROH. Athena, I think, is injured. That is why we have not been seeing her regularly as the women's champion on here. Wheeler Yuta, don't remember the last time he was on an episode. It might have been, I don't know. I probably should have researched that. But again, it definitely wasn't this week. Pretty sure it wasn't last week. The 6-man tag team titles have now more than likely disappeared forever as they're with the Bullet Club Gold. And then I feel, there's so many damn championships in ROH that they disappeared. Kyle Fletcher had a good stretch. Defended the TV titles, the TV title, but he didn't last week. He didn't this week. And, he did have a match this week on Dynamite that I absolutely hated because guess what? He lost. So it is just an extreme coincidence that for the longest time, we did not see the tag team titles. And I said about it. I talked about it. But we've seen all the other championships. And now we get to see the tag team titles, but not the other freaking championships. Just, it's not really a rant. It's just a coincidence I wanted to point out. That being said, proving ground match, the Undisputed Kingdom versus Fred Rosser and Tom Lawlor. This was a good matchup. I will give kudos there. Lawlor and Rosser are rivals, is the best way that commentary describes this tag team, but they're willing to put their rivalry away to get a potential shot at the tag team titles. And we see that they are rivals as they start this matchup by smacking each other to see who's the first man to start the match for the team. But the Kingdom take advantage of this, leading to Rosser and Taven being the first 2 legal men, but the Kingdom keep Rosser in their corner. Rosser is able to take on the Kingdom by himself, including a slam on the apron to Taven. Lawlor and Rosser hit Gustbusters at the same time, and then lock in crossface chicken wings at the same time. Rosser and Lawlor accidentally headbutt one another, with Rosser being able to apply a crossface chicken wing on Taven after it, but he did not see a mystery tag to Bennett, who comes in, and the Undisputed Kingdom win the matchup with an assisted power bomb. Even though commentary did make note, they came very close to the time limit draw because in a proving ground match, if the non-champions win or they reach the time limit, they will get a championship matchup. They came very close to winning. They came close to the time limit. They ultimately did it, and the Undisputed Kingdom won the matchup. Next matchup is Slim J versus Ethan Page. Earlier in the night, Ethan Page had a promo, but like I said, he said the same thing for weeks and weeks, and that he wants to win a championship for his family, because every time he goes home, his family expects him to have a championship, and he doesn't, and he has promised to them that he will win a championship. This week, he did make note that he's wearing special colors that his daughter picked out. That being said, though, what the hell does the man got to do to get a title match? Because he's won several matches, but this one was against Slim J. And Slim J grabs Rick Knox's hand and smacks Ethan Page with it, and Page gets mad at Rick Knox, but he can't really do anything. So Slim J tries to use Rick Knox to his advantage during the matchup. That does not help after he misses a moonsault. Page hits an effective body slam for a 2 count. Slim J then reverses an Ego's Edge attempt, but he cannot reverse a headshot and Ego's Edge that leads to Ethan Page winning the matchup to continue his winning ways. Next matchup is Billy Starks versus Killa Kate. Would hate to see her middle name. Kate stops a tope suicida from the outside, but Starks wins the matchup with an electric slam. This was a very quick matchup. And of note, I like making these little side notes. I've said it several times, and if this is I'll repeat it because it's such an obscure note that it's very weird. But in Ring of Honor, Billie Starkz has 2 different entrance songs. There's one when she comes out to the ring that has no lyrics. And then, by the way, Billie Starkz on Honor Club in singles matchups is 12-1. So again, I can fact check this. But when she comes out to the ring, the theme song has no lyrics. When she wins the matchup, the theme song magically has lyrics then. This week, she came out to the ring with the theme song with lyrics, and she walked out, left the matchup after the victory with the theme song with lyrics. Maybe somebody finally caught on to what is going on. Maybe not. Who cares? Next, we get a promo from Rachel Ellering and Layla Hirsch saying that the brackets will soon be announced for the women's TV title tournament and that they've been preparing each other for the tough competition that could potentially be ahead. The Infantry face the Righteous next. Dutch and Bravo are the first 2 legal competitors, even though both quickly tag out. Bravo attempts a dive, but doesn't know that Dutch secretly tagged back in, and the Righteous stop him on several occasions from tagging out until he eventually does, but it does not help as the Righteous win with the Orange Sunshine Rises. I believe the move is called the Sunshine Rises, but for some reason, I made note. Ian Riccaboni said the orange. Maybe he was saying like the sun is on. He said orange. In the portion that they hit the freaking finisher, he said orange. Is it the Orange Sunshine Rises? It's just the Sunshine Rises? Who knows? The Righteous one is the moral of the story. Next matchup is a quick matchup of Queen Amanita. I like saying Amanita. I think it is Amanita. Might be Amanita. Versus Riza Clark. Amanita. God. I really combined it there. I added a third version of it. Amanita lands a massive forearm and does several times during the matchup. Both competitors exchange vicious chops, but Amanita lands a running boot followed by a double stomp to win the matchup. Next matchup is Gringo Loco versus Bad Dude Tito, and there's no code of honor between the two. Tito keeps Loco grounded until Loco is able to hit a spin-out powerbomb for a 2 count, and then this is followed by a moonsault to the outside. Gringo Loco lands a top rope Spanish fly for a 2 count. Loco misses a top rope moonsault. Bad Dude Tito lands a Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count, and then Tito does win the matchup with a spinning side slam. There's that. I will say this. Gringo Loco does the craziest moves during his matchups, and I always kind of have to seem like I'm brushing it off because, like I say, a lot of times it ends up being the move ends up leading to a 2 count, and then he does something crazier after that. So I apologize for that. Next matchup is a 4-corner survival between Trish Adora, Kiera Hogan, Diamante, and Red Velvet, all names who are viable options to be in the women's TV title tournament. Adora stands tall early after double clotheslines and exchanging forearms with Diamante. Lots of pinfall attempts by everyone involved. Hogan dives onto Diamante on the outside. Adora lands a lariat, but Diamante rolls to the outside. This puts Adora in the position to get hit with the mix by Red Velvet, who picks up the victory. Leading to our main event, another 4-corner survival. This one involving Alex Zayne, Jack Cartwheel, Blake Christian, and Big Shotty Lee Johnson. Of note, Alex Zayne did not get an entrance for this match. And commentary made note several times that Alex Zayne has actually challenged for the Ring of Honor World Championship before. So I think that's just a little bit of disrespect. You could have gave the guy a freaking entrance. It's not like the episode's already an hour, 45 minutes long. But I digress. They all watch Jack do cartwheels to start the matchup off until Christian drop kicks him, even though soon after, he hits more cartwheels. We get lots of drop kicks, German suplexes, and neck breakers in this match by all. Johnson hits Jack with a Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count. Christian hits an elbow drop for a 2 count. Christian then hits a splash onto Jack and a dive onto Johnson. Then Christian hits a C4 on Alex Zayne to the outside. This is soon followed by Cartwheel doing a cartwheel onto everyone on the outside, but he misses a cartwheel in the inside on Lee Johnson, who sets up an elevated reverse DDT to pick up the victory. Wrapping up this 49th episode of Ring of Honor. Like I said, I felt a great majority of this show was a rerun. So, in other words, a little bit skippable. I did enjoy the Proving Ground match. I did enjoy the main event. Hell, I even enjoyed the Queen Aminata stuff because, you know, it's not really a rant. This is just a coincidence thing. Every week, ROH, I'm sorry, if y'all are ready to click off the video, y'all can. But this is another coincidence I'm noticing. So we have these squash matches on ROH every week. But they never say, hey, this is going to be a squash match. Obviously, that would defeat the purpose of it. But a lot of times, it's like, Nyla Rose is in action. If that's going to be the case, the person she's facing, you probably don't know. It's going to be a quick matchup. Iron Savages and Jack Jameson are in action. So, what I'm getting at is, this week, Queen Aminata was in action. So, it wasn't really a squash match, though. It was a very back-and-forth bout. So, that's why I was giving a side compliment to that. You know, like I said, I was just in a bad mood before this episode. You know, it is what it is. But the episode's over. The review's over. Hopefully everyone can stay safe, like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.